Hello, welcome to the RDA. I'm your boy Retha, and I'm back with another news show. And today I've got some spicy takes, some spicy comments. Some comments have come out, two of them from esteemed United legends, and one from a Dutch coach who I really don't know. This is Danny Blind, father of Daley Blind. Remember him? Daley Blind, the man who did absolutely nothing at Manchester United. You know, the only thing I remember about Daley Blind at Manchester United is a cracker he scored against Liverpool, you know. And I love him for that, because he scored against Liverpool, but that's the only thing, you know. It was a nice set-piece play, it got to Blind, and he hit it top bins. And yeah, that's it. Besides that, he did nothing else. And if I'm not mistaken, that was also the game Martial scored his first goal. You know, you can correct me in the comment section, but if I'm not mistaken, that was that game where he scored that cracker. So his father has come out. We'll start with that comment. His father has come out, Danny Blind, who is assistant to Louis van Gaal at the moment, and in true Louis van Gaal fashion, man has come out criticizing Manchester United, and specifically criticizing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I'll read the headline to you, just to set the mood, because it says everything. Manchester United tactics under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer brutally mocked by Danny Blind. You know? And man just violated Ole. That's the gist of it. Man just violated Ole. And I'm going to read you some of his quotes, and I'll give you my opinion after that. Man has said, what is the identity of this Manchester United team? What is the plan? It does not always have to be full pressing, but we don't see any of it. Everything in the United team is based on individual qualities of the players. There's not a tactical plan. Ole's team are not able to put pressure on their opponents like Manchester City. So yeah, man has come out basically just having a go at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics, saying Ole is clueless, basically. He's clueless, and you know, he doesn't know what he's doing, and it's just the eggs. And you know, we've seen Louis van Gaal do this a lot, you know. So clearly the man has something against Manchester United, and clearly he's sour about the way he left the club. So much that his assistant now is coming out and insulting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know. And yeah, you know, it's interesting. It's interesting because as a fan, you don't want man's having a go at your club, especially people who aren't affiliated with the club, you know. Like you feel like it's not your place. It's not your place. Stay in your lane, and you don't like that, you know. You want to protect your club as a fan, but man speaking truths. Man is speaking truths. And that's the annoying thing about it, you know. That's the annoying thing about what this board has done over the last decade. And that's the annoying thing about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his ineptitudes. Because we have basically given people ammunition to ridicule us. That's what we've done. We've given people ammunition to ridicule us. People who are not connected to the club, people just feel like they can have a go with us. We've become the banter club, you know. We're Arsenal 2.0, and that needs to change. That needs to change because it's not on. We're freaking Manchester United, and people should envy us. People should envy us like they used to do under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and people shouldn't feel like they're entitled to come out and say whatever they want because it's true, you know. But we will analyze this guy's quotes because what he's saying is true. What he's saying is true, you know. He started off by talking about identity. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team doesn't have an identity. It doesn't, you know. And it does, you know, every team has an identity, I guess. But it's not the identity that we want. It's not what we call the United way, you know. And if anyone should know what the United way is, you know, it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Michael Carrick, and Mike Phelan, you know, because they grew up in the United way. And that sounds weird, but they grew up in the United way. Carrick played for United, Ole played for United. Phelan was Ferguson's right-hand man, you know. So, in what world is what we're doing the United way? In no world. It's two sitters, counter-attacking football, the United way. And it's gone to a point where, you know, people feel like they can ridicule us. You know, at first people would say, you guys are just spoiled brats, you know, you've always had it your way, you have all the money in the world, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. It's gone so bad that people realize that we weren't talking nonsense, you know. There's problems with how we play, problems with this club, and they've gone to a point where they can ridicule us, where they can banter us. And it needs to change. It needs to change. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in this international break, has to put his heads together with He sits together with Michael Carrick, with Phelan, with McKenna, and just work on it, just fix it, because it's not on. It's not on. You need to sit down and say, gents, what are we doing? What are we doing? Some B-Tech coaches out here coming out insulting us, when we are in charge of the biggest club in the world. What the heck are we doing? And they need to ask themselves, really, what are we playing? Because I know we insult Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I know we go at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer played for Manchester United. Carrick with Manchester United. They know what the United way is. They know. They know what we want. And I guess in their own backwards way, it's what they want as well. But, you're going to do something for so long until you're like, okay, I need to step back and analyze. You're going to do something so wrong. You're going to do something wrong for so long until you step back and say, okay, let me analyze this. Maybe I should be doing something different because nothing's changing. Nothing's changing. So, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his technical team need to step back and be like, this is not working. It's almost 3 seasons now. It's not working. And we need to, we need to get things done. We need to change the tactics. We need to take a new approach because it's in their hands. It's in their hands because nothing we the fans can do. We can only scream and shout. The board are interested. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick and them, if they really care about United, they want this to stop. They want people to stop ridiculing them because that's what this guy's done. Out of nowhere, man's talking about Manchester United. He's taking a pop at us. He's taking a pop at us because he can and because it's true. So they need to get together and we need this to stop because not just Danny Blind. In general, nowadays there's just been a lot of murmurs about Manchester United and our ineptitudes. And 2, we need to play some football. We need to analyze that football style and just get on track. And yeah, look, we're tired of talking. We've been down this road before. What I can tell you is probably going to happen is McFred are going to be live and kicking, and he's going to revert to that because that's what he does when he's under pressure. Sometimes a Dan James, but there's no Dan James now. And at worst, a back 5, which would make me scream. And I can see that. I can see that under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the coming fixtures because you've got Leicester, you've got Chelsea, you've got Man City, you've got Liverpool. I can see Ole reverting to a back 5 and doing completely the opposite of what he's supposed to do. So we'll see. But yeah, Danny Blind has come out and basically violated Ole, And on top of that, I almost forgot this, I'm sorry. On top of that, he went on to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo and basically said that ever since Cristiano Ronaldo has come into the club, we haven't been the same. We haven't played the same. It was never great. He's never great, but he feels like it's gotten even worse under Cristiano Ronaldo, or with Cristiano Ronaldo at the club. And it's a valid point. It's a valid point. Yes, I think Cristiano Ronaldo himself has been brilliant because it's Cristiano Ronaldo and he scores the goals. But you do feel like the really bad tactics just got worse, because I kind of feel like there's no sense of cohesion and we struggle even more to break down teams. And the luck has run out. The luck has run out this season. I think it's more that, I think it's more that we're so lucky last season. We get away with things and the luck has just run out this season. So, moral of the story is, Ole just needs to fix this, And I'm Ole out, so I just want him out, And I don't think he will. But for the sake of his pride, for the sake of his reputation, for the sake of reputation of Manchester United, the club he says he loves, he needs to do something different after this international break. Because, anyone can tell there's something wrong at the moment. Anyone can tell that it's not going right. The results speak for themselves as well. So yeah, that's all I'll say on that. Next comments from Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes himself, and he's speaking about McTominay. And he said these comments on a show called Webby and O'Neill. I've never heard of it, but he was speaking on the show, and basically he was asked, what's going on in Manchester United, specifically in terms of the midfield, and how can the midfield situation into the McFred and how weak we are in the midfield defensively, how can that be sorted out? And he did not waste any time. He did not waste any time jumping towards Scott McTominay. And he seems to think that Scott McTominay is the answer. Scott McTominay is the answer as a sitter alone in the 6. Stuff of my nightmares. Alone in the 6. Scott McTominay is the answer according to Paul Scholes. And it gets to a point where you wonder if you know football. It gets to a point where I doubt myself because it's not just post goals. One, it's definitely Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. One, we'll start with that. Two, Alex Ferguson, Jose Mourinho, Paul Scholes, all these mans who seem to just love Scott McTominay, who seem to think he is the next big thing, and it just boggles my mind. I don't get it. I really don't. I want to get it, but I don't get it. And I get work rate. I get that. I get how great work rate can be. I get the heart. I'm a United fan. I love when Scott McTominay is pumped up and all of that. But pumped up and all of that doesn't win any trophies. It doesn't, And look. Post goals is post goals. Are they gonna stop? Okay, no. Jose Mourinho is Jose Mourinho. Sellers Ferguson. So let them do it. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's let what's his name again? Let's let McTominay play in the six. Let's do it. Let's do it. Because since these months who have done so much, who understand football so much, who should understand football so much, because they've been there and done it. Let's trust them and let's let Scott McTominay play alone in the six. That must happen, And let's just see how it pans out. I've gotten to that point where I'm like, maybe there's something wrong with me. So let them just do it and let's just see how it happens. But if I have to tell you what I think is going to happen, it is going to be a disaster. It is going to be a disaster because this man has no defensive bone in his body. None whatsoever. Like I've said in the past, Scott McTominay could put out a chair, sit down in the middle of the midfield, and I literally think there'll be no difference. Maybe he'd get in people's way because the chair. I think the chair would be more of an obstacle because it's weird and it's there, So I think the chair would be more of an obstacle than Scott McTominay because I've seen man skip past this man like he's just standing still. Traore just a few weeks ago. If you want to know what I'm talking, okay, Traore. Okay, no, he wasn't playing in that game. That was Fred. Fred even, like last season, I think Fred was a bit better defensively. But what I've seen this season, when they play together, the few times they play together, it's just two Scott McTominays, They're just standing there and mans are just bypassing them like they're nothing, And that's what Paul Scholes wants. He wants this man to be the only sitter. And as I said, it gives me nightmares. And it's surprising because considering Paul Scholes played in that position, And, I apologize for what I'm about to say. But I apologize for this comment. Don't leave before I give the context. But I do think Scott McTominay in many ways is similar to Paul Scholes. And I say this because, Paul Scholes, one of his many talents was being box to box, getting close into the box, scoring goals, getting on the edge of the box, scoring screamers, just overlapping runs. And that was his MO, He had more to him, but that was his thing. And that's Scott McTominay's thing, For me, that's what makes Scott McTominay a decent player. Remove that. I don't know what you have. But according to Scholes, a United legend, from a footballer, and someone who's played in a similar position, according to him, nah, that's not his best part. His best part is sitting alone, and mopping up, because let me just read his quotes. I think he's got everything with Scott McTominay. He's athletic. He can get around the pitch. He's great. He has great ability as well. He's capable of sitting alone, of sitting in the six. So he's athletic. He can get around the pitch. And that his post-goals analysis of why he should be the six. But as I said, man has no defensive bone in his body. So it's all great running around. Yes, Kante runs around, and that's one element of it. But there's so much more to it. And I'm not denying that maybe he can grow into it. Like I said, let them play it, Maybe they know something we don't know. But at this moment in time, Scott McTominay is just gonna screw us over. He will screw us over if he plays in that position. And I don't know what Paul Scholes is going on about, And yeah, that was that from Paul Scholes. I do not agree whatsoever. Next up, we've got quotes from another United legend. We love this man, because he has the most interesting takes. We've got Roy Keane going on about Jadon Sancho. And he had some interesting things to say about Jadon Sancho. He seems to think that Jadon Sancho has struggled at Manchester United because he's been overshadowed by Cristiano Ronaldo, and it's just too much for a young lad like Jadon Sancho. Now, I do have to say, I think maybe he was asked, and it was just a brief question. He had to give a brief answer. So, as much as I think he could have gone into more detail, maybe he didn't because just the manner of where he was asked, the manner of the show. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were analyzing before a Nations League game or something like that. So, yeah, that's what he said. He said he thinks Cristiano Ronaldo being at the club has overshadowed Jadon Sancho, and that's why Jadon Sancho has not done so well so far. And I don't really agree. And I'm not about to just blame Ole. I will blame Ole to an extent. But I do think, Jadon Sancho for 75 million, some blame has to go to his form at the moment. He has the excuse that, yes, he's new, he'll ease into it. So we're not going to be too hard on him. But he has to take blame because of the price tag, and we expected so much more from him. So there's still time. Don't get me wrong, there's still time, but more needs to come from Sancho. And in the last game he played against Everton, we saw some really good things from Sancho, and I was really impressed and I was very hopeful. But he had to step it up a notch, for what we know he is and what we bought, So I agree. I think that's one of the reasons. But I kind of feel not upset, but I don't like that Roy Keane just kind of avoided saying anything about Ole. And just avoided saying anything about Ole. Because Ole has to take blame. Ole has to take blame, in my opinion. Because, one, Ole can't set up an attacking force to save his life. He can't. The last decent thing he did, in my opinion, was the dynamic between Rashford and Martial in his first full season. But ever since that, we have seen nothing of the right standard. All his tactics are shite, and what's his name again? Jadon Sancho's paying all the tax. He's paying all the tax because he's coming from a club where, they play football. It's all about the football at Dortmund, developing the youth, giving them chances, and just playing some all-attacking football. You'll never see Dortmund hiring a Jose Mourinho. It's just not in their DNA, So, it's coming from a club where they play real football. It's all about the tactics. And, just what he's really good at. He's a playmaker, So you can't expect a playmaker to come in and just be taking on runs. But clearly that's what Ole wants, That's the type of player that thrive on Ole, We've seen Mason Greenwood playing like that lately. We've seen Marcus Rashford being of that sort. So you can't just bring in Jadon Sancho and be expecting him to just take on runs, and that just be that, So a lot of blame has to go to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. 1, 2, game time. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer game 1, 2 games start of the season. He didn't even start him in the first game. I defended him. Now maybe I'm thinking I shouldn't have because Sancho's not playing. So not giving him enough game time because this guy is 75 million. This guy was wanted by pretty much everyone. Or he was rated by pretty much everyone. So you give him the game time. You give him the game time because you bought him to be a starter. You bought him to make a difference. You bought him to be on the right. We've had a problem on the right for a very long time, since Ronaldo left, really, playing on the right. And I guess Valencia kind of put a shift in. But ever since, we've never had a right-sided winger. And we've struggled for creativity because of that, So we bring him in, 75 million, man doesn't play. So a lot of blame has to go Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. A little to Sancho because he's the player. But a lot of blame has to go Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I kind of dislike how Roy Keane just disregarded that. He just aimed it, 1, at Sancho himself, and 2, he went as far as to say, Ronaldo coming, Like Sancho's not the player who left England, and went to Germany and made a name for himself, Man's got balls. So I don't see that type of character really buckling by the fact that he's playing with the world's best player, I think he'd thrive under that. So, yeah, these legends, Paul Scholes as well, McTominay, these legends, I just don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I just don't get it. Because to me, football is a basic sport, 1 + 1 is 2. It's a basic sport, football. But with some of these legends, sometimes 1 + 1 is 7. I just don't get to where they're going at with some of that comments. So yeah, that was that. That was Paul. That was Roy Keane. You can let me know in the comments section if you agree with Roy Keane. If you think Ronaldo being at the club, it's just too much for one of the best young players in the world. He just can't handle it. And if I'm being harsh on him by saying that he should have mentioned Solskjaer and let Solskjaer take some of the blame. But yeah, that's basically the comments. Before I wrap up the show, just wanna give a shout out to some of our players at the Nations League. I haven't been watching them. I won't lie to you. I can't be asked. I can't be asked for the Nations League, and I feel like a bit of a hypocrite because I've advocated for it because I kind of feel like I like the whole format of, similar to the Champions League but with national teams. But maybe they should tweak it because I just can't be asked for the Nations League. I haven't watched a single game. But France, Spain, the final, so I've heard. And yeah, we've got some players. We've got Pogba, we've got Varane representing, De Gea if he plays. Because nowadays, De Gea's not number one. Imagine, it's crazy to me. So yeah, we've got them representing. Happy for the lads, They need a break from the toxicity of Manchester United. And I'm happy to see that they're thriving in international football. Scott McTominay, the great Scott McTominay. Liverpool scores was right. Scored a last minute, 95th minute goal to get Scotland a win over Israel, if I'm not mistaken. So, brilliant Scott McTominay. And apparently I heard Man was taking corners. I don't know if it was this game against Israel or the game before that, but I've heard that Man's taking corners. Scott McTominay, huge man, taking corners. It just makes no sense to me. And the irony is priceless when you realize that the goal that they scored, the score that he scored in the 95th minute, it was a corner, and he scored it. So, one of the few corners didn't take, the team scored. So, I could be wrong. We've got them following the Nations League. It could be the game before that they were taking corners, or I'm just confused. But I read somewhere on the great internet that Scott McTominay was taking corners for Scotland. Interesting. And who else? Who am I forgetting? Oh, Sancho. Sancho assisting too, if I'm not mistaken. Lingard also having a shout and starting. So Sancho and Lingard started. Sancho assisted too. Question: Should we be questioning why one game for England, man's clicking? He hasn't clicked at all. He hasn't assisted. He hasn't scored for Manchester United. Should that go more blame to Ole? Is God forbid? Is Southgate better than Ole? God forbid. But maybe this is a catalyst because he did have a good game against Everton. He scored. And he assisted twice. So maybe now he'll come in and light it up. Maybe light it up at Old Trafford. So yeah, excited for the upcoming round of games. Really hard round of games. All is going to be tested. And excited that our lads are doing well at the international teams. And hope they come back to refreshed tactics, refreshed mindset. And you know what? We go win the league because we have the squad to do it. We just need our manager to switch on or get out. So yeah, that's been the news. And I'll check you next time.